Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And today I want to talk about, I want to make this separate video before I do my review. Uh, Hopefully I'll be able to get that out sometime before Toonami airs the episode 57. But I wanted to specifically zero in on a separate video about Goku Black's Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Rose, or Super Saiyan Rose form, and the interpretation Sean Schimmel took for the voice. This has been a big discussion. There's been a lot of hate going on. At one point, Sean actually deactivated his Twitter account around last year because people were constantly harassing him wrongfully about what happened in the voice. I personally, he's done the Goku Black voice for the video games, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and now Dragon Ball Fighter Z. And I'm glad that the fandom seems to have gotten a little off of Sean, because I don't like how he's being wrongfully harassed for, not trying to imitate the Japanese voice actor. I think that's very wrong and very disrespectful by the fandom. And now that the episode is out, the first episode of the episode 56, and we seen how Sean sounded with Super Saiyan Rose, a lot of people, got mixed feels about it. But the thing is, because we hear the video game version sounds a little different from the way the anime did it. But people need to understand that when they're doing the video game, all these new characters that appeared in Xenoverse 2 is not necessarily guaranteed to be in the anime. Most did. Most got in there. Champa, Vadus, like their English voices, carried over from Xenoverse 2 to the actual Super anime. But again, Xenoverse 2 dub was out and available before the official anime was out. It was even before it was even licensed yet, let alone being made. Okay, so Xenoverse 2 was the first English continuity we had to anything that was Dragon Ball Super, and it always will be. This is also because, mainly because the video game company that publishes the game, Bandai, they, obviously have to have an English dub because Dragon Ball Z is popular. So they have already the existing characters casted, but these new characters from Dragon Ball Super had to get voices. And so that gets very, very difficult, and you got to produce things really quickly because it's, a video game. And because of that, because the game was already being published and it was coming out in Japan, and they wanted to get it out at the same time, the English was getting out at the same time the Japanese were being released. So they had to get them out very quickly. So a lot of things about the characters for Xenoverse 2, for these new characters, kind of were rushed because this video game has to come out the same time the Japanese schedule is out, but the English schedule is not even nearly out, let alone out at all, when the Japanese dub was already done, when Xenoverse was out. So they were already past the Goku Black arc by the time Xenoverse 2 came out, where we were just starting with Dragon Ball Super. So people need to understand that the English dub of Xenoverse 2 was a very rushed production because they had to rush. Well, I shouldn't say they rushed like the existing characters, but for the new storylines and storylines that hadn't happened yet in the English dub anime, because the anime didn't exist yet, the English dub anime didn't exist yet for Dragon Ball Super. It's a very, very rushed production. And so the voices might not sound exactly the way they should. This is where Sean Schimmel comes in with the Goku Black. The Goku Black voice sounded like Super Saiyan 4 Goku. A lot of people said that it sounded like Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And his voice is a little slightly toned down compared to the way his Super Saiyan 4 Goku voice sounded like when they actually introduced Goku Black in the anime. And so now, one of the things that Richard, who has been doing a lot of the reviews with me as of late, had told me was that in the Japanese version is that they sound really British, like the Super Saiyan Rose voice sounds British. So here's the thing, though. The voices in Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, GT even, they all sound different from the Japanese version because they have their own interpretation of the character. Now, this is a lost trait when it comes to the anime community, because a lot of anime purists want the English voice actors to sound 100% to the original Japanese voice actor, which in Dragon Ball, that can't happen. And it can't happen because of the way the establishment was already built. The Dragon Ball Z dub was built in a different way, and it's going to stick that way regardless of what anyone thinks. It's going to stick that way. It's not going to try to sound like the Japanese version. And the thing is, regardless of what you think, that's just how it's going to be. But the thing is, what really annoys me, though, is that so many people criticized Sean about, the Goku Black thing, when Sean's interpretation of the Goku character in terms of the voice has always been different from the original Japanese voice. It's always sounded different, regardless of what character is. So it really shouldn't have been any different perspective when he was tasked of being Goku Black. It really shouldn't have. And that's what really annoys me about the whole situation, is that so many people just assume that he could somehow mimic a woman's voice. Sean's a guy. Sean isn't going to be able to sound like a girl's voice. That's just the commonality of it, guys, regardless of what you think. But hearing his voice last Saturday, I actually thought it went the way I had a feeling it was going to go. Especially after we seen the end of the... now, I don't watch the Japanese version, but the way the episode ended, and you seen Zamasu, and that's just a whole plot hole in itself, by the way, that I'll be getting more to when I talk about the review. When I do my full-length episode review, I'm going to really hit hard on that whole plot hole that happened at the end there. But... pretty much we know that Zamasu and Goku Black are somewhat in some type of cahoots or have some type of partnership going on. At least future Zamasu, because I'm assuming this is future Zamasu. But that's another thing I'm going to have to get into when we do the review. Is that Goku Black and Zamasu are somehow future Goku Black, I guess. Or, well, not even future Goku Black. We don't even know who Goku Black is. Like, we kind of have an idea, but it kind of throws it out the window at this point with this episode. But with the voice interpretations, because one of the things that we talked about in one of my past reviews is about Zamasu's voice being voiced by David Gray. David Gray, wink wink, with Masterson's involved in the sub contents, if you know what I mean. Is voicing him with a more of a monotone type voice, which is quite different from the Japanese. From what I've gotten from Richard, is that he sounds more British. And based on that information, I had a feeling that when he went Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Rose, that Sean was going to have more of a monotone voice and was going to sound similar to his Goku Black voice, his regular base form Goku Black voice, and that's what happened. I did see Geekdom 101's video on the topic, about how the voice was changed and stuff. I do slightly disagree with Geekdom on how he said that the voice sounded a little different. I thought the voice sounded the same from the base Goku Black form, like the form that he did in the anime. The way Sean sounded in the Goku Black base form sounds almost identical to his Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Rose form in the dub. It sounds almost the same. It's a little more, it may be a little more up pitch because he's more powerful, I guess. But the overall vocals to me sounded the same. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, honestly, I don't think, with the exception of the Super Saiyan 4 Goku in Dragon Ball GT, for anyone who cares to think about GT at this point, in Dragon Ball GT, when Sean sounded like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he kind of had more of a, evil type voice because Super Saiyan God, or not Super Saiyan 4 Goku was, he wasn't evil, but, he had more of an anger to him, So because of that, he had more of a gritty type, angry like voice for Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Goku did. So because of that, I think that's the only time really, you hear the voice really change when it comes to Super Saiyan transformations. So I don't think it was a big issue for him to keep the voice sounding like base form Goku Black to the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Rose form. I think that actually makes sense, and it is more consistent with the English dub, which is what we need to talk about because it's not interpretation to the Japanese version. Is interpretation to the English version. People seem to not understand that because so many anime fans these days want it to sound like the Japanese, which just can't happen. And I really feel that more people that do voiceover for anime characters need to try to interpret the voice the way they can interpret it from their perspective, rather than trying to rely on the Japanese voice, because I think it makes it better, and I think it makes the product better, because that is you need to make the character your own. You can't interpret what someone else is doing in a different language. You can take influences from them for sure, but to try to mimic it's like that and their own interpretation is kind of wrong, especially when you're trying to basically copy someone that's a woman. She's a great voice actor, I think, or what's her name, Mazawa? I think it's Mazawa. That's her last name, right? Great voice actor for the Japanese audience, obviously, as well as the subtitle fans that watch her. But to compare her voice to Sean is kind of not really a good comparable argument, because their interpretations of the character are slightly different, because he's doing it in the English sense and she's doing it in a Japanese perspective sense, which are two completely different things that a lot of anime fans just don't understand in this day and age. And you gotta do it. You gotta do it the best way you can interpret it. And I think that's what Sean did here. And I'm glad that he did do it this way, because I feel like they really needed to establish where they're going to go with the Goku Black character for the rest of the series. Regardless of how long Goku Black is alive for, regardless of, where the future holds for the Goku Black character, I feel like Sean needs to stay with a consistent voice for the remainder of the anime, rather than trying to bounce back and forth from trying to do a Super Saiyan 4 Goku voice for Goku Black, or try to do some British type voice. I feel like he needs to stick with the consistency, and that's why I'm glad they kind of just decided to do it this way and get it over with, because the video games are rushed really when it comes to new content characters, like, the super characters. So I feel like they needed to kind of really figure out what they were going to do here. And I think his performance was really good with the way he approached it. And I'm really happy for Sean that he's able, to kind of, do his own interpretation to the character. I've seen so many ignorant tweets, calling Sean out on it, and it really annoyed me, dating back to last year, a few months ago even. And I'm really, happy that Sean kind of just stuck it to the way he needed to do it here. He needed to do a certain way, and he did it that way. And I'm very happy for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the future for the Goku Black character. He's definitely a lot stronger than I originally thought he was. And so we're going to be seeing very soon the Hope of the Universe Goku taking on Goku Black very soon, because he obviously didn't give a shit about Vegeta. So we're going to be seeing that very soon. So very happy for Sean on his interpretation of the character. And I'm glad he kind of took the voice into his own interpretation of the character, rather than trying to do Muzawa's voice. I'm really just glad he kind of, did it the way he felt the character needed to be interpreted. I'm sure this was all agreement with the directors and stuff like that too. I'm sure this wasn't just a Sean decision, but I'm sure that, there was all different aspects that happened. But I'm very happy, and I'm looking forward to some of these new characters that are come out too. We seen I guess Whis' brother, or not our brother, father, I guess, too, seemed to do a really good job there. Yeah, guys, very happy with what's going on, and I'm very interested in seeing what happens the rest with this Goku Black arc. It is getting very interesting and very intriguing, to say the least. Very surprised at some of the twists and turns already. A lot of unanswered plot hole questions that hopefully we'll find out tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Saturday. But if not, we'll eventually find out. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm hoping that you guys enjoy the review that I will be doing at some point before Saturday. So thank you very much for watching. Comment, rate if you like this video, my other videos, please subscribe, and that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.